UFC Fight Night Whittaker versus Aliskerov is this weekend. We've got your full fight card breakdown. I'm going to sprinkle in some tidbits on betting and such and just have a little bit of fun. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the 10-7 MMA. Thank you. I'm your boy DS. You might know me from features such as other episodes of the 10-7 MMA. And typically, and tonight, I'm with my guy, Dino Bam Bam. Dino Bam Bam, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I love the Troy McClure little intro there. Shout out Troy McClure.
Did you like my more subdued intro?
No, I usually like when you're just fucking on one. Like, I just like aggressive, hyphy DS, but
True.
This is the kind of episode where look at that. We got the green bricks in the background. It's a chill kind of vibe. You know what I mean? So
okay.
Is that what we're going with? Or are we doing that? Or are we going like Chee-wee-wee's level of fucking turn? You tell me. You tell me how this
episode's the Juice Man, by the way. Shout out OJ the Juice Man.
Shout out OJ.
Also, before we get into this card, obviously we're here to break down the Fight Night Saudi Arabia card, hence all the beautiful green, alhamdulillah, brother, and all that good stuff. Before we get into all that, and obviously the main event is Whittaker versus Aliskerov. It was going to be Whittaker versus Hamzat. It's a really good Fight Night card, right? Obviously, Saudi Arabia, they pay big money. They're going to make this shit happen. But before we get into all that, we went super viral again, thanks to the meme lord himself, Dino Bam Bam. If you haven't yet, go check that out. Where can they find that, Dino Bam Bam?
You right there at the bottom. It says follow us on IG and TikTok. It's not on TikTok, but it is on the IG at the107MMA. Dino, we're almost at 500,000 on that meme. 500,000 views. It's been reposted by Nina Drama herself. So shout out Nina. Thank you for that. And then CTE community or whatever it's called, CTE something. The guy that does like,
Society.
Too early. Yeah, CTE Society. The guy that's like, oh, that was too early. And it's just terribly late, terribly late stoppages.
Yeah, and shout out to Nina for being a good sport about it. We kind of took a little playful shot at her. Nina Drama or Nina Marie Danielle, she got them things. But yeah, thanks to her for being a good sport. Appreciate that. Put it on her story, commented on it too. So let's get it, man.
So
fucking give us some follows, man. Damn, we got two super viral memes so far. Maybe we're just a meme page coming up.
Maybe that's what we turn the IG into. But here on
because nobody fucking watches this shit anyway. So
I'm saying, right? We're trying though. Hey, your little Hamza video did. This isn't time to talk analytics. They don't give a fuck. They want to talk about the card. If you guys are enjoying, hit the fucking subscribe button, like it says at the bottom there. Please like it, thumbs up. Dino, let them know what the bell sounds like.
That whole Chang on my lead to my Zhao Long.
That's basically what the fuck the bell sounds like. Hit that, subscribe. We're gonna drop a ton of fucking content. Next week's a pay-per-view. Let's move on, Dino. Let's get into this fucking card.
Let's do it, brother. First fight of the night. We've got Long Zhao versus Chang Ho Lee. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Man, look, Dino, I want to say this. This is the road to the UFC thing. My alarm's ringing for some reason at 9:15. I don't know what's going on. But look, I just want to say this. Road to the UFC, great tournament. My Zhao, not very long. Not very long. But anyways, let's get into it. Long Zhao, he's a heavy-handed striker, man. He has some good takedown defense. He's shown that throughout the tournament here. He is a boxer, and I think that shows. That's really what he's trying to do. Solid hand speed, good power, a little bit of a lack of defense on the feet. He seems lackadaisical. He seems hittable. But yeah, he is a boxer. He doesn't have too much in terms of grappling. He does have some good grappling defense. He's not going for takedowns, but he's tough to take down. The cardio solid. Overall, just a solid fighter. Nothing too special, but a pretty entertaining fighter, to say the least. And then we got Chang Ho Lee. He's just a mauler, dude. This guy throughout the tournament has been taking people down, beating the dog shit out of them. Crazy ground and pound. On the feet, he doesn't have very much. So this is very much a striker versus grappler. The experience is going to favor the Chinese fighter here, Long Zhao, even though he is the younger fighter. We've seen a lot of these fighters from China lately, and we've talked about it, Dino, where they come in with like super big records. Like, dude, how do you have 40 fights and you're 25 years old and shit like that? But again, he's fought some cans. Then we have a 9-1 fighter in Chang Ho Lee, who's a little bit older, but he's an absolute fucking buzzsaw. I think he's going to get the takedowns. I think he's going to possibly get a finish towards the end of this fight. I'll go Chang Ho Lee TKO late, but I wouldn't be surprised at a decision.
I like it, man. I like it. Yeah, not super impressed by Long Zhao. You know, hasn't fought the highest level of competition. Yes, he has a lot more fights, but pretty much like you said, nothing crazy impressive in terms of the level of opponent. I also trust, for what it's worth, and just generally speaking, I trust Korean mixed martial arts a lot more than I do Chinese martial arts. You know, it is what it is. Chang Ho Lee, you know, I guess maybe less technical on the feet and all that, but he's got more power. He's more of a finisher, man. You know, you saw on the road to the UFC, Long Zhao, kind of underwhelming performances. Nothing, is this fucking crooked a little bit? Whatever. Nothing super exciting. Has not at any point to me looked like somebody that people should be afraid of. Chang Ho Lee, he's going to go for it, man. He's going to go for it. And I see a second round ground and pound TKO. Just don't trust Long Zhao, even with all the experience advantages. It is what it is.
And interesting
also,
enough,
for what it's worth, neither of these guys really stand out to me as somebody that's going to be anything crazy in the UFC.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think either one of them.
This tournament sucks. This tournament fucking sucks.
It is what it is. You know, there's some fun fights on the tournament, but it feels like it feels like there's like a level. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah. I don't think anyone that really, besides Rinya Nakamura, by the way, who I really like as a prospect, I don't think we're getting too many like high.
Tyra, I guess, right?
I don't think he was on the tournament, was he?
I can't remember now.
No, he wasn't, dude. He's been here for a little bit, but yeah, Rinya Nakamura. Anyways, and I was gonna make some joke about Asians and not having long zhaos, but fuck it.
Fuck it. Well, that's low hanging fruit, brother.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Moving on. Next fight of the night we have got, and I fucking don't know where I am, brother. Lost my place. Here we go. We've got Magomed Gadziasulov. That's a new one. They threw a Zia in there. So there's an OV, there's a Gadzi, then they threw a little bit extra in the middle. You feel me? A little bit of spice in there. He's taking on Bredson Ribeiro. All right. These are two wild-ass fighters. Both of these guys are absolutely out of their mind. This is going to be a fight where you don't want to blink. You never know what the hell's going to happen. Bredson Ribeiro, man, you know, he's been finished. Gadziasulov has never been finished. So, and also he's a massive favorite. Look at the odds. Minus 470 for Magomed. Plus 360 coming back for Ribeiro. I don't know that the odds should be that wide, you know, between them. Mostly because both of these guys are kind of wild. They have very different styles, but I think they're both going to just go nuts in the first round. There's a high chance that this ends in the first round. Yeah, I've seen a decent amount of Gadziasulov fights at this point, man. He likes to leave his chin in the air. That's a thing that concerns me. But Ribeiro, man, you know, is he going to be the one to test his chin? He certainly can. It's just the striking is not as refined, right? I don't see the striking being quite as, you know, tight and intact. And oftentimes when you have one of these Brazilians that throws a lot of crazy shit, especially at some of these slightly higher weight classes, oh, man. And if it gets to the ground, it's like, yeah, Ribeiro has some submissions, but Gadziasulov is going to be the better wrestler. And I think if he wants to take it to the ground, he'll be the one to get it there. I'm gonna go with Magomed, man. The odds are way too wide in my opinion, but I guess I do agree that he's probably gonna get the win here. I think at some point he does find the chin of Bredson Ribeiro, and it's probably going to be in the first round because I don't see this fight going to the second.
Interesting. Yeah, Dino, I agree with you in terms of the winner here, and I can see where you're coming from, with a first round finish here, but I weirdly enough see this one going the distance, but I do think Magomed ends up winning this one anyways. To me, Ribeiro clearly has the power advantage, but Magomed has the speed advantage on the feet. On the ground, I think it's pretty much like 50-50. It depends on who's going to have the better position, right? So it's going to be about the scrambles and who can end up on top and things like that. I think we get a fun fight. I think it is one of those fights where you're not going to want to blink because it can end at any second. And I think it's just going to be super high level, like, you know, not high level, but super fast and fun at the beginning. And I think it turns out ending up sloppy as shit. But yeah, I think Magomed wins this one. A solid, tough decision. Minus 470 is absolutely fucking bananas, though. You're right about that.
Yep. Yeah, I typically am. So, next fight of the night, we've got Muin Gafurov. He is taking on Kyung Ho Kang. What do you think about this one?
Chewing on some ice here, Dino. Let's start with Muin Gafurov. 18-6, but he's 0-2 in the UFC. probably needs this win to stay in the promotion here, man. But they've done him no favors with the matchups they've given him, Dino. John Castaneda the first time, and then the second fight, Said Nurmagomedov. So bit of a tough draw for him, basically. He is a grappler, of course, looking at his name and where he's from, you'd figure that. But he's struggled to get his takedowns so far in the UFC. And it's basically been proven that for him, he's going to need takedowns to win fights. Having said that, if he is able to get you down, he's a fucking beast, right? He's dangerous, high finish rate, solid gas tank, solid submission skills, good ground and pound. But again, you have to worry about a guy who's so dependent in the grappling, who hasn't shown the ability to get those takedowns at this high level. He's taken on Kyung Kang, an aging veteran, 36 years old, 8-4 in the promotion, a pretty good record. He had like a 2-year hiatus after 2019, but since 2021, this is going to be his 5th fight. So he's been solidly active, super clean boxer, good striking in general. He's just a good striker with great counter strikes. Not the greatest takedown offense and not the greatest takedown defense either, but a veteran that does a good job getting up when he is taken down. So to me, that's going to be the biggest difference, right? If Kang is able to stay off the ground, he's got a damn good shot at winning this fight. If he's not able to stay off the ground or at least get up when Gafarov does eventually take him down, he's going to lose the fight, man. So it's really 50-50 striker versus grappler. You know what, Dino? I wouldn't be shocked if Gafarov pulls this fight off and gets a sub, but I'm leaning towards Kang, man. I think there's just something to be said about a guy that's a 12-fight veteran in the UFC, and he's won 8 of those 12 fights. You know, and he's not the easiest guy to hold down, and I think Gafarov's going to struggle with him. So I'm going Kyung Kang by decision.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I'm going to pick Kang, man. I was back and forth on this one. I don't think it's that clear cut on the ground either. I don't think that if Gafarov gets Kang down, that it's just over for him. I really don't. He has a lot of UFC experience at this point of his career. He's very well rounded, man. And this guy has a lot of fight in him. He's not just going to give up, even if he gets some shots landed on him, even if he gets taken down. He's always fighting to get back up, and he's always fighting to make some moves. So I just, the record's not great, 19-10, 18-6 isn't that great either, to be honest with you. I just, you see the OV, we always talk about it at the end of the last name. I just don't think Muin Gafarov is I don't think he's like that. I don't think he's like a lot of these guys from that region. I think he's kind of like the, ugly duckling, if you will, not to be a dick about it. But Kyung Kang is going to be a lot better on the feet. We'll see, man. Is Muin Gafarov going to fight a little bit more reserved after he's now lost 2 times in a row in the UFC? These guys do like to protect their wins and their records. So I think it's going to be tough to do against somebody like Kyung Kang, because I think Kyung Kang is going to just keep coming, brother. So I agree with you. I'm going to go with Kyung Kang by decision. It's not like a super high confidence pick, but 5-inch reach advantage, 2-inch height advantage, and just, just a whole plethora of UFC experience that he has on him. I got to go with him.
Look, Dino, I just want to say one more thing. I wouldn't be shocked if this fight ends in any way, right? And that means Gafarov decision, Gafarov finish, Kang decision. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I just don't understand how Kyung Kang is the underdog in this one. I mean, if you look at the film, he definitely pops more, especially against higher level talent. The only thing I could think of is this fight being in Saudi Arabia, being on Gafarov soil, so to say. I think that's the only thing that kind of leans it his way. But I think Kyung Kang in this one I think the odds should be flipped and probably slightly wider. I think Kyung Kang minus 130 seems about right to me. But whatever, I'll take the plus money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you're right. Well said. It pretty much could go exactly like that. Any which way. I guess the least likely thing is probably Kang by decision, but
Yeah.
All right. Next fight of the night, we have got Rinat Fakhretdinov. He is taking on Nicolas Dalby, the Danish Dynamite Dalby. Man, this is a fun fight, dude. This is a really fun fight. I almost wish they weren't fighting each other because I like both these guys and I like their fight styles. Rinat Fakhretdinov, man, combat sambo specialist. He is really, really good. By the way, dude, have you ever watched any combat sambo?
Yeah, it's weird. It's fun, but
it's fucking wild, dude. They do the headbutts and shit. people get brutalized in that. It's a very Russian looking sport. If you've never watched any combat sambo, check it out. That shit is pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. I've been watching a lot of it recently for whatever reason. But man, Fakhretdinov, really good grappler. The striking is not bad either. Nicolas Dalby, in my opinion, is going to be the better striker, at least a more technical striker on the feet. Power-wise, I guess it's probably Fakhretdinov's way. But man, Nicolas Dalby has even at 36, what is he, 36? I want to say 39, dude.
Yeah,
Holy fuck, he's 39 years old, man. He's almost 40 years old. So listen, at some point it's gonna fall off, right? And it's crazy because even up to his last fight, which his last fight, everybody pretty much expected him to lose. I think I picked him to lose too, but damn, I should have picked him to win.
You picked him to beat Bonfim.
I did, right?
You picked him to beat Bonfim. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I was gonna say I wasn't sure if I did. I know I wanted to, but yeah. So yeah, there you go. This is a tough one though, man. This is a tough one. This, the OV last name kind of grappling is just a lot different than the Brazilian style of grappling, right? And Nicolas Dalby can hold his own in any arena in the sport. But where he really excels, man, is the pace and is the cardio. He's got fucking unbelievable EPO levels of cardio. Even at 38, 39 years old that we saw him last, it's absolutely nuts. Size-wise, these guys are going to be pretty much identical. Both of them have really good records. This is a high-level fight, man. This is a really high-level fight. Oh, and it's so tough, man. I'm having such a goddamn hard time with this. I'm still going back and forth on it, to be quite honest with you. Because to me, it's like, if the fight goes the distance, I'm pretty sure Dalby's going to win. But Fakhretdinov, man, he is tough, and I could see him ending it early, right? But then I'm going to go with Nicolas Dalby, dude. I'm going to go with Nicolas Dalby because I had a little premonition. I tried to visualize an early finish of Nicolas Dalby, and I just simply don't see it, man. And if that's the case, I think he'll probably lose the first round, and then we'll see Nicolas Dalby, a tough-fought second, pull it out. And then the third, I think he'll win a little bit more clearly. And I'm going to go in a close, maybe even a split decision, Nicolas Dalby.
All right, nice. So I think me and you kind of see Rinat Fakhretdinov a little bit differently from, just from hearing what you're saying about that breakdown. And he's a guy that we've had a little bit of conversation on, but never too much. He's a beast grappler, as you said. We saw the submission skills last time out against Kevin Lee, and he slept his ass. And I don't want to come off like I'm hating on him, but Dino, on the feet, Rinat Fakhretdinov looks like a fish out of water to me. Yes, he has the power because he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys that he's a full-on grappler, and he's looking to strike just to get to the grappling. Obviously has some big-ass power. He's a big-ass dude who throws those massive overhands and shit, trying to close distance. So I think you're right. He does have the power advantage over Nicolas Dalby, but I just don't think he's a great striker in general. Now, on the ground, I think he's very deadly. We saw the submission skills, great transitions. He's fast as hell on the ground, vicious ground and pound, great submission skills. And, again, on the feet, you look at his body type, you look at what he likes to do, and that's how he strikes to me. He's just a come-forward, aggressive striker to get to a clinch or a takedown. Nicolas Dalby, on the other hand, a veteran, I think a clear striking advantage, but a clear ground disadvantage in this one. You mentioned the cardio when it comes to Nicolas Dalby. It is phenomenal cardio, but you wouldn't know that looking at him. About 2 minutes in, he's huffing and puffing, but that's just how he breathes. That's like his whole thing, and I guess that controls his cardio, right?
That's a great point, man. That's a great point because that's like, I remember I think he was on one of the first fight cards that we ever broke down.
Yeah, and DC was talking about it, and it's like, man, that's just how he is. Look, on the feet, Nicolas Dalby is going to have the much better striking. He's going to be quicker. He's going to be crisper. He's going to be sharper, all that. On the ground, though, I worry for him a lot in this one. I know he's a dog. I know he's got some damn good survival skills. I just think Rinat Fakhretdinov is going to be on a little bit of a different level than him. I don't see Nicolas Dalby getting finished, but I do see Rinat Fakhretdinov winning a decision in this one. So I wonder what the odds are going to look like, what they're going to look like on Fakhretdinov by decision, but that's what I'm going with. I think he gets a takedown, gets some ground control. Dalby gets a little hesitant to go, even though that's not really his style, but that's just how I see it. I don't know, hunch, but that's what I'm seeing.
Respect, man. Who am I to say? You know, but this will be.
I was gonna say you're a guy who has damn near 500,000 real plays on Instagram at the107 MMA. Y'all should go like and subscribe and follow us there and all that shit.
Boom. You should check it. Maybe we can hit 500K live on air, brother.
I'm gonna look at it right now.
In the meantime, next fight that's coming up is Muhammad Naimov. He is taking on Felipe Lima, who was the Octagon promotion champ. What are we at?
Yeah, 440 something.
Okay, fair. All right. Yeah, Muhammad Naimov versus Felipe Lima. Give me your thoughts on this one.
All right, Muhammad Naimov, originally slated to be fighting Melsik Bagdasaryan in this on this particular card. That fight fell apart not too long ago, a couple days, if I'm not mistaken. We have to think, right? This guy was getting ready for Melsik Bagdasaryan, who's a pure kickboxer, okay? The game plan was going to be take Melsik Bagdasaryan down, hold his ass there, and win the fight via wrestle fudge by decision or probably a submission, right? But then he gets a 180, man. He ends up going from a guy that doesn't know anything about the ground game to a very well-rounded prospect in Felipe Lima. I think Naimov is still going to have a solid to, little bit of a wrestling advantage in this one, but I don't think it's as heavy as an advantage as he was going to get with Bagdasaryan. He's definitely going to have the size advantage being a natural 45er. Felipe Lima, of course, coming up from Bantamweight here to make his debut on short notice. I think this is a better matchup. I think that one would have been an easier matchup for Muhammad Naimov. And on the Lima side, he's a well-rounded fighter. As you said, he is the champion in Octagon. He was also slated to fight, I think this weekend or next weekend and defend his belt. So short notice in a way, but not really short notice in the sense that he's just coming in off the couch, right? He was in training camp, just going to be fighting 10 pounds heavier. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage? That's the biggest question mark to me, because it can be an advantage not having to cut that weight, but it can also be a disadvantage. His cardio could be worse at 145. He could be slower at 145, right? So, look, I think the odds makers have this one right. It's basically a coin flip for a reason. I think Lima looks damn legit, and he was also basically ready to go. Fighting a guy in Muhammad Naimov, who, to be honest, just hasn't another guy who hasn't looked super damn impressive. I feel like Lima's going to come out and get it done, man. I'm not super confident in this one. It's 50-50. It's 50-50 on the sports books as well. But I'll take the exciting newcomer over the guy that I think we kind of have an idea of what his peak is in Muhammad Naimov.
Wrong.
Okay.
I'm taking Muhammad Naimov, man. I just think it's a decent stylistic matchup for him. I mean, the Brazilians, sure, he's well-rounded. He's got some decent submissions. He's not going to be able to keep up with the wrestling and just being not necessarily ragdolled, but the size advantage, I think you're not giving it enough. I think you're not giving it enough weight, right?
He's going to be bigger. He's definitely going to be bigger.
Bro, this guy's a weight bully, like all these guys are at their weight classes, right? He last weighed in 146 pounds. This guy probably walks around at like $170. Okay. Lima, literally last time weighed in not only at 135, he weighed in at 134, right? So I think the size difference is going to be a pretty big one. 3 inches of height too. We don't have a reach, I guess, on Lima, so I think it's a couple inches there too. But yeah, I can't, man. I just don't trust it. I think it's a really bad matchup for him. Props to him for taking it, like you said, on short notice in terms of making a UFC debut. He's really good, and I'm excited to see what he can do in a different matchup. First of all, just look at these guys, dude. Look at their topology pictures. Look at Naimov, and then hit the density in his muscles, and look at his goddamn face, dude. His facial hair. Look at Lima. It's like a 40-year-old man fighting like an 18-year-old kid. I think the size difference is just going to be a little bit too much, man. Even if Lima is probably the more skilled fighter, I got to go with Naimov. I think Lima will probably be able to survive and not get finished, but it's tough for me to pick him, man. I just can't do it. I'm taking by decision, by the way.
I just got to state this, man, and I hate to say it, right? But Naimov comes into the UFC, makes his debut against Jamie Malarkey and knocks him out, and everyone's like, holy shit, this guy looks legit. But fuck, who's not knocking Jamie Malarkey the fuck out nowadays?
And I'm not saying any of that. I think he's actually not bad, but. But
then here's what I'm saying, right? Then he goes on and gets a controversial ass win against Nathaniel Wood. Of course, that's in that's in Dubai. So you get like some hometown bias there on a controversial decision. Then last time out, he fights Eric Silva, who's not the best fighter in the world, and that fight ends in like 20 seconds due to injury. So it's just like, Naimov hasn't like super impressed me yet. And then if you look at his 2 losses, like he lost to Colin Anglin on the Contender Series not too long ago. And then who else, he beat Landon Quinones. Like there's nobody really impressive on his resume. So that's just kind of where I'm going with it. I think Lima is just more exciting to me. And maybe that's why I'm hoping he wins. But I'll tell you this. I don't think Naimov gets very far. Even if he wins this fight, I don't know how high up he goes.
Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily in the Gafarov vein. I think he's a little bit better than him overall as a prospect. But I agree with you. I don't think he'll be one of these guys that takes the sport by storm.
Yeah.
And he's already getting to 30, which isn't crazy old. He's in his prime, but So anyway, next fight of the night, we've got Nasrat Haqparast. He is taking on Jared Gordon. Bam Bam. What do you think about this one?
This one's me.
Oh, is it not?
I mean, who cares? I'll do it, right? Nasrat Haqparast.
Yeah, it's got to be you.
All right, that's fine. Nasrat Haqparast, he's a winner of 3 straight. Before that, he had lost 2 in a row, right? So this 3-fight winning streak, John McDessie, Landon Quinones, who we just talked about, and Jamie Malarkey, who we also just talked about. Not, very super high-level competition, but still some pretty good guys. He's a super sharp boxer, as we know, Dino. Super damn clean. Great combos, clean footwork. I've always been impressed with the angles that he throws his hands at, Nasrat Haqparast. That's always been super damn impressive to me. In this fight, he's going to have a solid height advantage, a reach advantage as well against Jared Gordon. And from what we've seen for Nasrat Haqparast, he's had some pretty good takedown defense, but that's really going to be put to the test because he's fighting Jared Gordon, who's going to be the highest level wrestler he's taken on in some damn time. Jared Gordon, solid enough on the feet. I don't expect him to have too much on the feet for Nasrat Haqparast, but I don't think he'll be absolutely outclassed there. His recipe for success in this one is obvious. It's going to be the wrestling. It's going to be the jiu-jitsu. It's going to be the grappling in general. Gordon, historically, a guy that can go 3 rounds at a really fast, high pace. So that's another question mark on the Haqparast side is how are you going to look when we get into that 3rd round? We've seen him slow down a little bit, right? The takedowns are going to be important. I think if Jared Gordon can get the takedowns and some ground control, I'd expect his jiu-jitsu to come into play at that point, and he's very live for a submission. So as much as we want to break this down and go into like X's and O's about these guys, it's really damn simple. It's striker versus grappler for me. I don't love the fact that we saw Jared Gordon go out with that head clash not too long ago against Bobby Green after being robbed in the Paddy Pimblett fight, but then he looked great against Mark Madsen. Then you got a question, how fucking good is Mark Madsen at 78 years old, right? He looked good there. This is just a completely different style of fight than Marco Madsen. To me, this fight is such a damn pick'em. If we want to talk about who I think is going to win the fight, I think it's going to be Nasrat Haqparast, but the odds being plus 185 are really fucking swaying me to pick Jared Gordon in this one. Official pick Nasrat Haqparast, but I'm betting on Jared Gordon, and I wouldn't be fucking surprised if he wins. This is damn near a coin flip to me.
Okay. I mean, I get what you're saying, man, because of the grappling and all that, but I do trust Haqparast. Takedown defense, his length, his athleticism, and man, I think, in my opinion, you gave Jared Gordon a little bit too much credit in terms of the striking. I just don't see it, man. I don't think he's a very good striker. He's at the tail end of his career, right? If you look at Nasrat Haqparast's losses, right? I mean, here are the guys that he's lost to in the UFC, okay? Bobby Green by decision, Dan Hooker by decision, and Drew Dober, he got knocked out. But yeah, those are some high-level fighters, man, right? Yeah, I mean, he's fought better competition. He has eons better in terms of the boxing, the hand speed, like I said, the length, the ability to take angles and connect. I just think it's not a great matchup for Jared Gordon, even though typically in these matchups when it's wrestler versus striker, you kind of lean towards the wrestler a little bit a lot of the time. That's just not going to be the case for me here. I just don't trust the striking of Jared Gordon. He's tough, man. And Nasrat Haqparast, yes, he did get a knockout in his last fight, but he kind of makes dirty fights, right? And it's kind of grindy, like battles. And they're always fun fights. So I really like this guy. I always have really liked him. And I'm going to side with him, man. I'm going to say by decision. I'm going to say like a fairly one-sided decision. I could maybe see him losing the first round, a little bit more grappling heavy. But after that, I don't really see it, man. I think he's going to be able to maintain, for the most part, on the feet and just land a lot more shots, land a lot better shots. I think Jared Gordon's going to have a tough time getting in on him.
Look, he's a high-level boxer, and like I said, man, I really do like his style. He's impressive. Like, his hands are impressive. He's got underrated boxing in the UFC. For Jared Gordon, I just want to clarify. I said his striking was solid enough. I don't think Jared Gordon's some kind of fucking striker. So I don't want you thinking that.
No.
We're going to rewatch the tape. Rewatch the tape. I have my notes here. It says solid enough. It says solid enough. He's getting a
knockout, spinning back fist.
Damn, is that what I said?
That's what I heard.
Fuck. That's crazy.
I know.
Hey, by the way, Nasrat Haqparast, a.k.a. Afghan Gastelum, and he's on the card with Kelvin Gastelum. That's fucking wild.
Oh, shit. Literally, though.
Maybe you hit the doppelganger parlay, Maybe.
Ooh, maybe. That's a little bit of foreshadowing.
Hey, come on.
Also, they both look like every Mexican guy that drives a truck and wears like a fitted forwards.
That's fire.
And I feel like the name's usually like Eduardo.
All right. Shout out Eduardo.
You feel me? All right, next fight after that, we got Johnny Walker, and he is taking on Volkan Oezdemir. Man, this is, I don't know what the fuck to make of this fight, to be quite honest with you, right? Johnny Walker, we know who he is. He's a fucking madman. He just throws some nice knees. He has some wild finishes, right? And then he's got some times where he's gotten fucking finished on some, like a light breeze. There was a period where it's like, it was just taking him out. But then we saw him recently, he's been taking some big shots and like not going down, right? But at the end of the day, Johnny Walker is just not the fucking smartest fighter. I fucking love him. I love his personality. I love how well he speaks English. And, he's a fucking character. I think he's one of the more marketable guys in the entire promotion. Looks like a goddamn caveman. Volkan Oezdemir is like his almost complete, is like his foil, right? Like a more reserved kind of guy, doesn't do a ton of talking. Much more technical. They both have a lot of power. He's much more technical in terms of the actual striking, even though both of them, to me, are very live for a knockout. Both of them have pretty decent grappling, right? I mean, they're both very well rounded. To me, it's just like, what's Johnny Walker going to do in this one, man? Like, he pisses me off, man. He pisses me. I love Johnny. I just want to see him go forward. Like, you're fucking 6'6", dude. Go forward, land some goddamn shots. I feel like he waits for everything. He waits for the fight to come to him, and then like he'll try to time like a knee, and it's like, that's great, dude. That's fucking awesome when you land it, and then when you don't, and you throw something like a knee, and then you get fucking clipped and you get knocked out. So, like my brain says Volkan Oezdemir, my heart says Johnny Walker. I'm gonna go with my heart, man. I'm gonna go with Johnny Walker. If he loses this one, I'm never fucking picking him again, okay? I'm never fucking picking him again if he loses this one. I can't keep doing this shit. But God, man, I love the guy. He's so athletic. He's 4 inches taller. He's gonna have like 7.5 inches of reach. He has all the tools. Like, he should on paper win this fight, right? It's just the mental. It's just the mental with Johnny Walker. But I'm taking him. I'm gonna take him by decision. But I could see a finish either way in this one.
All right. One thing to note really randomly here, I was just looking into it. Volkan Oezdemir, Dino, he's from Switzerland. I think he's like Turkish or something by, like lineage. Last three fights in the Middle East, he's lost. So that's pretty damn interesting. But anyways, Johnny Walker, I mean, you basically said, what is there to say about both of these fucking guys, right? Like, we know who they are. If you're watching this thing 30 whatever fucking minutes into it, you like UFC, you like MMA, you know what these guys are, right? Johnny Walker, as you said, super long-bodied. He's going to throw some crazy fucking shit here and there. He's going to throw flying knees with his 6'19" frame. He's going to throw some wild-ass punches and kicks and spinning shit, and he's going to be wild. He has the ability to throw high-velocity, one-shot power out of nowhere from weird angles. The question mark on Johnny Walker, there's two of them. You alluded to both of them. It's the IQ and it's the fucking chin. The chin might be sus as fuck. We don't know, because usually he's able to take some shots, but then sometimes, like you said, you fart on the fucking guy and he goes to sleep. Then you got Volkan Oezdemir, longtime veteran. He's obviously aging a little bit, but he's only 34 years old, which shocked me. He feels older than that. He's had a couple losses in the last few years that make you feel like he's kind of falling off. But in reality, those losses are against really high-level guys. It's guys like Yuri Prohashka. It's guys like Jan Blachowicz, Krylov, Dominic Reyes. Those are the losses he's had in like the last 4 or 5 years. In that time frame, since 2019, those are the 4 losses. The wins are against Bogdan Guskov, Paul Craig, Alir Latifi, and weirdly enough, Alexander Rakic, who looked fucking amazing in a losing effort at UFC 300. I would have loved to have seen this fight, Dino, like dead ass 3 years ago. I think it would have been a perfect time for it. These guys were both like kind of peaking, I think. But anyways, I think Oezdemir has lost just a little bit of that power that made him the former title contender that he was. And while he's still an absolute threat, especially for a guy with negative chin like Johnny Walker, I still think Johnny Walker, while not tip top of this division, probably wins this fight. I think he eventually finds the chin, and the power that he's able to fucking produce with that long ass frame probably puts Oezdemir out. So I'm going Johnny Walker with a KO in the desert this time. This time he's not going to be the guy that's dizzy in the desert. He's going to be the guy who's making people dizzy in the desert. You feel me?
Yep. Yeah, I feel you. And it's kind of nice that they're not putting, I guess, Volkan Oezdemir, is he Muslim?
Yeah.
I mean, is the crowd going to be pro Volkan?
I don't know. What's a Volkan? Isn't that like a bird?
A Volkan?
It's like a fucking like a pterodactyl, right? Like a Vulcan. I don't fucking know.
I don't know, dude. But yeah, I do. You're right. I think he has slowed down. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I really don't see this fight going to decision anywhere. Both of these guys have been finished. I think they both don't have a ton of fight in them once they're getting fucked up, right? And I think both their chins can be a little bit questionable at times too. I think we didn't say that enough about Volkan too, because also I will say he's an absolute nightmare to fight in any of the UFC games. For what that's worth.
Oh yeah, he's not fun. By the way, speaking of Turkish guys from Switzerland, they were playing, the UEFA Cup's going on right now, Euros. Shaqiri scored today. He's a Chicago Fire guy. Is that still
qualifying, or is that like the actual?
No, dude, it's going on. It's been going on. It's been fun. I've been betting on it and shit. It's been entertaining.
Bro, I did not know that's going on. When did it start?
It's been like a week.
Fuck me,
something
dude.
like
what
that.
The fuck?
Copa America starts. Copa America starts right now too. I think tomorrow it's Argentina versus Canada. So we're going to see Messi. It's going to be dope.
All right.
10-7 soccer podcast. Let's do that. Or what?
You down?
Maybe.
All right, moving on. Next fight. We've got Shara Magomedov. He is taking on now a new opponent. It was supposed to be fucking Joelton Almeida or whatever the fuck his name is.
Joelton Luderbeck.
Luderbeck. Okay. All right. Yeah, whatever. He's fighting another Brazilian guy. This time it's Mackenzie Dern's guy. Who was supposed to be fighting for whatever reason Aliskerov, which he's not going to be doing now. The UFC does him a favor. That he's doing them a favor. What do you think about this one?
Or fucking musical chairs, huh? With these fucking fights. Anyways, Shara Bullet, man. Shara Magomedov. Ferocious striker with some stupid ass fucking power. The kicks are super whippy, Dino. The hands are strong. They're powerful. The guy looks scary as shit. He's got the fucking Michael Bisping Cyclops thing going on with the one eye. We know on the feet, Shara Bullet is super fucking deadly and dangerous. The question mark on Shara Bullet comes into, has he been tested in the ground game? No, not really. We haven't seen anything, right? What's his ground game look like? What's the takedown defense look like against somebody with some good takedowns? Is it good? Is he good on the ground? Does he have sub skills? Like, what? We don't know anything about him on the ground. And of course, fighting a guy like Trocoli, there is the possibility that we end up on the ground and we're going to answer some of those questions. Now, Antonio Trocoli, as you just mentioned, a guy that was supposed to fight last week on short notice versus Ikram Aliskerov. That fight gets canceled, just like his previous 3 fights. The guy's been signed with the UFC now, Dino, for like 7 or 8 months. And this is his 4th schedule fight, and he's yet to make the walk to the octagon. He hasn't even gotten to the scale yet. That's fucking ridiculous and some shitty luck. But anyways, he's back for the first time, right? Back for the very first time. So hopefully here we go. Mr. Mackenzie Dern himself, obviously, he's a very, very dangerous grappler, a submission guy, a jiu-jitsu dude. That's really all he is. I mean, on the feet, he does have some okay power, but his striking is not there, nor is it near the level of Shara Bullet striking. The biggest problem for him in this one is he's the guy that struggles to get people to the ground. And if you're one of those jiu-jitsu guys that struggles with takedowns, I just don't think that's a good fucking recipe in the UFC. While I would love to have seen the other fight happen with the Joelton Luderbeck, because I wanted to see what that guy was about. I'd like to see this fight go to the ground. I just don't know that we're going to get there because I'd love to answer some of those questions about Shara Bullet. I think he's just going to come in, Dino, in front of a very positive crowd for him in Saudi Arabia, who's going to want to see him out there and doing his thing. I think he's going to be aggressive. I think he's going to look for some fucking highlight reel KO, and I think he's going to get it really damn quickly. Unfortunately, we're just not going to get the answers to the questions that we have yet, but I think this dude's going to become more of a star than, he's going to become more of a star, but we're still going to have a lot of question marks about him.
Yeah, he's filling that Hamzat kind of void, right? Where he's got a look, he looks like an absolute fucking killer. He's playing a killer in a movie, so he's got 1 foot here, 1 foot out the door, brother. This guy's Hollywood
he's also
now.
beating the shit out of people at malls in Dagestan and
imagine being that small of a man internally and being like, this dude's getting bitches. I hate that. Like, you gotta fucking go steal off him. That's some weak ass shit.
You have some friends that are like that,
Damn. No comment. But yeah, man, listen, I don't think we're in the answering questions era for Shara Magomedov at this point. I think at this point the UFC is looking to hype this guy up, kind of like they did Hamzat, right? Throw him a few fights. If this guy's ever gonna fucking start stepping into the octagon, there's always some shit. He's 30 years old, right? So let's get to it. For the sake of this fight, man, I agree with you. I think, like many of these Brazilian guys, Trocoli is going to have a lot of fucking problems getting this guy down. Shara Magomedov, however, has not, he's offensively pretty decent in the wrestling. So I could see him, doing some damage there himself. But as far as his takedown defense and his defensive grappling, very fucking weirdly enough, it's just not good. It's just something that's not good. 30 years old from that region of the world. It absolutely makes no sense to me. But yeah, the power, the striking, also his cardio sucks, man. I'm really not that big on him, to be honest with you. I think this guy's been coasting on his looks. It's funny to say because in this sport, that means something a little bit different than in a lot of contexts when you're coasting on your looks. It's not because he's pretty, is basically what I'm saying. I just don't see it, man. I'm not huge on him, but for the sake of this fight, I think this is a pretty clear-cut one, man. I think he gets the knockout in round 1.
Let's get it. Let's go.
I don't know why we went this long on this card, man. But anyway, next fight of the night, we've got Kelvin Gastelum. He's taking on Daniel Rodriguez. This is a fun fight, man. This is a fun fight, right? This is Daniel Rodriguez, who is wildly enough 4 years older, I want to say, which you don't. He's 5 fucking years older than Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin Gastelum is only 32 years old still, right? Has fought the best of the best in the division. So yeah, the record doesn't look amazing at 18-9, but look at the people that he's fought and lost to. Look at the people that he's had absolute wars with. He went to war with Robert Whittaker, got his ass kicked in that one, but went to war with Israel Adesanya. That's the famous Izzy, I'm ready to die here quote, which was an absolute battle in that one. He's a good boxer, man. Daniel Rodriguez to me is really just a boxer, and it's really just the jab and the straight are his 2 best weapons. And he's really good and he's tough, but to me, Kelvin Gastelum is much more well-rounded, man. He's fought nobody on the level of Daniel Rodriguez. He's fought nobody on the level of Kelvin Gastelum. For me, minus 240 is kind of right where these odds should be. I expect Kelvin Gastelum to hold his own in the boxing and maybe even land the better shots. I mean, people don't sleep on Kelvin Gastelum's boxing by any means. But I think the easiest path for him to win is to get Daniel Rodriguez down. 37 and a half years old at this point, Yes, Kelvin's a little bit smaller. He's got a little bit less of a reach, but listen, on the ground, everybody's the same size. And again, just the quality of the experience in the UFC, I can't possibly imagine picking Daniel Rodriguez here. I'll take Kelvin Gastelum by decision.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add, Dino. I'll just say that I do like Kelvin Gastelum's boxing. One thing I will add though is his mentality, right? He has been, he's been saying lately in interviews that him and D-Rod are in kind of like a similar position where it's basically win or fuck off. And to me, I don't love hearing that from Kelvin Gastelum, but knowing the kind of guy that Kelvin Gastelum is, I know he's such a dog because, as you said, we saw that fight against Israel Adesanya. That's something that you can never take away, from any fighter in the UFC. When they go through a war like that, man, you can't take anything away from them or say they're not a dog. I think with his back against the wall, we have a really damn dangerous Kelvin Gastelum in this one. D-Rod, kind of on the decline, man. He lost to the gatekeeper, Neil Magny, like the ultimate gatekeeper. Last time out, he got knocked out by Ian Machado Gary. He's clearly on the slide, like on the downside of his career here. But I will say I've always liked Daniel Rodriguez's striking. I think his boxing is super damn crisp. Good body kicks as well. I don't know if Kelvin Gastelum's going to mix in the wrestling. I kind of hope he does. But either way, even if this fight stays on the feet, I still think he's going to win this one. I think he's just hungrier than D-Rod, and I think he's desperate for a win. Give me Kelvin Gastelum. I think he puts on a vintage performance and gets a decision in this one.
Agreed, man. Let's get it. Moving on. Co-main event of the evening in a very, very rare display of two big-time Russian fighters. How often do you see that in the UFC? Almost never. I can't remember the last time that we saw that. I'm talking about, obviously, Sergei Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov in the co-main event. Two big boys. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, have you seen the fucking pictures of Sergei Pavlovich, like in the shorts and shit? He's looking fucking yoked.
That thing is looking girthy, and it's got length, bro.
My boy looks like two refrigerators. You feel me? But anyways,
he's looking jacked. And then the contrast of him and Volkov, just like
100%.
Have you seen those? Like they're taking like pictures together and shit. Yeah,
amazing. But I mean, what can we say about Sergei Pavlovich that we don't already know? Do you know the Aspinall fight is one thing, right? Yes, he got put out early in that fight against the, now the interim heavyweight champion of the world and Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall, a phenomenal fighter, so nothing really to be ashamed of there. But I think realistically, if you play that fight out 100 times, I really think it's a coin flip still. I think it's 50-50. Maybe you give a slight edge to Aspinall, like 55-45 or 60-40. But Pavlovich has the ability, the power to put anyone in the world's lights out immediately. So big brutish ass power. He comes out hot as hell every fight. And now he looks in better shape than I've ever seen him. So a scary, scary version of Sergei Pavlovich this weekend. He's taking on Alexander Volkov, a longtime UFC veteran, super well-rounded, super tall. Let's not forget, that he does have a solid ground game. People forget that a lot about Volkov. And I think he's going to really need that in this fight because for as long-bodied as he is and as good of a defensive striker as he is, he does do a great job with range management. It's like you can play that game, but over the course of 15 minutes, something is going to get through from Pavlovich, and you don't want anything from Pavlovich touching you at all. You might go to fucking sleep, right? So I think he needs to get this fight to the ground ASAP Rocky. I'm very confident in Sergei Pavlovich in this one, but I do want to say if Volkov can avoid those shots early and he can find himself a pretty early takedown and control that round, then he's got a good shot at winning this fight. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Volkov gets a sub or wins a decision after kind of wrestle fudging for a little bit. But the way Pavlovich looks, man, I got to go Sergei Pavlovich by first round knockout. I think it's going to be an interesting fight, though.
Yeah. This is a great fight, man. I really like both of these guys. Volkov, like, I wish he was a little bit more active, like recently, right? Especially you talk about how swole Sergei Pavlovich looks, and he does. But dude, look at Volkov in his last couple fights. Like he is really put on a lot of muscle. He's not as doughy as he was. He looks fucking great at 6'7". He's an absolute monster of a human being. Sergei Pavlovich, by the way, he throws 100% of his shots to the head. Okay, he does not throw a single body shot ever. He almost never throws any sort of kicks. Volkov likes the leg kick, right? He likes the teep kick. He's got some powerful and decently fast kicks for the weight class for somebody who's 6'7" and 280 pounds when he steps in there. So I'm curious to see how Sergei Pavlovich, deals with that, right? Because there are not many 6'7" guys with that kind of range that are going to throw some beautiful teep kicks at you. And, we haven't really seen Sergei Pavlovich go into any later rounds, right? So once you start taking some shots to the body, I think Volkov is live for a knockout himself, number one. I think he's also live to win this by decision if he's able to survive, right? We've seen him in some longer fights. I think about the Derek Lewis fight where he was beating the shit out of Derek Lewis for the most part and then just made a stupid-ass fucking mistake with 10 seconds left and ended up getting knocked out. I think he's live. I would sprinkle on Volkov, but I agree with you, man. I'm going to go with Sergei Pavlovich. The biggest thing for me is, first of all, yes, there's a 4-inch reach disadvantage for Sergei. A height disadvantage for Sergei Pavlovich, but he has got a 4-inch reach advantage. And one of the things he's best at is that looping over the top kind of haymaker, right? And throwing over the top strikes in general. So I think just the style of punches that Sergei Pavlovich throws is going to be a problem for Alexander Volkov. Also, my biggest fucking thing, and always has been with Volkov, dude, he does not like getting hit, man. And what does he do when he's up against the cage? He just he just shows up, right? He just shows up and stands there. You can't fucking do that, bro. You can't fucking do that versus Pavlovich. He's gonna knock your ass out, and I do think it's gonna happen. It's very likely. Let's say I think we'll have a fun fight for almost a full round, and then towards the end of the first round, he gets knocked out. Exactly like that. Back against the cage, start like Pavlovich lands a couple more. This guy kind of shows up and then ends up getting dropped.
And one more thing, they've trained together a bunch. So, there's always something there, right? When you've trained with someone, you guys know what the deal is. So I wonder what that dynamic is like.
That's a great point, actually. That's a great point that I hadn't mentioned, but yeah. It's going to be a fun one, man. I never thought that, I feel like they almost never make these fucking fights. So, anyways, where are we at now? We are at the main event of the evening. And of course,
sponsored
we're talking
by
about Prime Hydration. Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov. It was supposed to be Khamzat. Now now he's fighting the guy that is, kind of similar. Only losses to Khamzat, right? So, if you're a fan of this channel, you already know how I feel about Bobby Knuckles. He is one of my favorite fighters, right? Now, last time out, and not just last time out, versus Costa, versus Dricus, right? We've seen him, is the chin starting to go a little bit, right? And Bobby Knuckles long in the game. He's not long in the tooth. He's been around forever, but he's still, 33 years old, 33 and a half. He's only 2 years older than Aliskerov. But, man, the resume speaks for itself. I don't have to go into it, right? Fought Izzy twice, fought fucking Vittori, fought Costa and won, fought all these goddamn guys, right? The only question for me is, how's that chin, right? Is the chin iffy, okay? Now, Ikram Aliskerov, very well-rounded fighter. Does he have maybe the power advantage? Listen, man, I'm going to make this short and sweet, okay? I love Bobby Knuckles. At the same time, Ikram Aliskerov is good, man, right? But who the fuck has he beat? He beat Warley Alves, okay? He beat Phil Hawes, the most questionable chin of all time, okay? Phil Hawes, all right? Beat Mario Souza on the Contender Series. There's nobody here that stands out to me where I'm like, oh, shit, these guys are absolute killers. He's gone to decision with, fighters that I'm like, okay, it's a 1911 guy, Nashawn Burrell on Eagle FC, right? Going to decision with him. Has some split decisions. Chad Hennecum going to split decision in Brave FC, right? So I think people are kind of counting Bobby Knuckles out of this one, man. I know Ikram Aliskerov has seemed to be a popular pick. There's no way. I mean, it's certainly possible. I just can't possibly pick him. Bobby Knuckles, I think when it's a serious fight, right, and he was preparing for a serious fight, he gets to a different level. Again, the only thing for me is the chin. I don't see Ikram Aliskerov manhandling Bobby Knuckles on the ground. And truthfully, I think Robert Whittaker is that stick and move, right? That in and out kind of style. I think it's going to work very well versus Ikram Aliskerov. Bobby Knuckles, not a finisher, but I'm taking him by decision here.
Snapped. Look, really quickly, Bobby Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles, absolute your boy, absolute my boy. He's a fucking our boy. Who doesn't like Robert Whittaker? As you mentioned, of course, he was supposed to be taking on Khamzat, who pulled out with a fucking tummy ache yet again. Last time out, that Paulo Costa fight. He won that fight pretty comfortably, but of course, there was that dangerous moment with the spinning wheel kick or whatever it was that had him stanky legging all over the place. You mentioned the Dricus fight before. That was fucking brutal to watch in person. We were there. We had our parlays.
He wasn't stinking. He literally was slightly wobbled and immediately threw a shot after.
Right. I mean, but it looked weird. But anyways, that's how Whittaker gets hurt, right? Everyone has their vintage hurt. But anyways, and then the fight before that, the Dricus Duplessis, that was brutal to watch. Especially we were there. That cooked both of our parlays for the night, so that was cool. The most important thing is his takedown defense. Robert Whittaker has world-class takedown defense. He always has. He's really damn good at that, and he's training for a 5-rounder against Khamzat Chimaev. So he's been working on the takedown defense. That's where it's supposed to be, and the cardio is where it's supposed to be, especially considering losing to Dricus 2 fights ago. This is probably Robert Whittaker's last push back to the belt, right? So I think he's taking this really damn seriously. In the stand-up, he's crisp, he's technical, he's got good boxing, he has that nice little karate style. great body kicks, great head kicks. You know, what's there not to love about him? He's taken on a scary prospect in Ikram Aliskerov. You mentioned 15-1 in his career. The only loss against Khamzat, who he's replacing here on short notice. He got knocked the fuck out brutally with an uppercut. I say short notice, but we do have to stress that he was also getting ready for a fight. He was supposed to fight last week, so he's in shape as well. But he was fighting a 3-rounder against a pure grappler, not a 5-rounder. So I wonder how that comes into play. This is a 5-rounder instead of strictly a jiu-jitsu guy. It's one of the GOATs at 185, right? It's one of the best fighters we've ever seen in the division. Robert Whittaker is a guy that loves to blitz forward. Ikram Aliskerov does great against counter strikers, so that's something to keep an eye on. But I also said it last week. I said Ikram Aliskerov is going to be a guy, we're going to see in the top 10 in this division for a pretty damn long time. I just don't fucking know that it's right now, man. I think Robert Whittaker still has something to offer. I think he still has something for the dudes at the top of this division. I think we get a fun fight. I would have loved to have seen the original fight. Khamzat versus Whittaker was something I was really looking forward to. And I get why the UFC is giving Ikram the opportunity to step up here in Saudi Arabia against the top-ranked guy. But I just think it's too much too soon, dude. I think Robert Whittaker does a number on him. And like Kelvin Gastelum, I think we see vintage Bobby Knuckles. And I think he's going to be a fucking problem for the guys at the top of 185. And I think 185 in general, we're going to have a lot of problems there with the division being log jammed, right? We had Cannonier with a weird loss against Imavov, who now wants a title shot. Sean Strickland wants a title shot. We have Dricus and Izzy fighting. If Robert Whittaker wins here, he's going to want a fucking title shot. If Ikram wins, he's going to demand a title shot. So 85, Brendan Allen, 85 is getting sloppy.
It is, man. It is. It's interesting, but yeah. And then, of course, it's kind of weird that they gave the fight to Izzy, but it is what it is. I get that, too. The bad blood and all that. So, yeah. But that's all we got for you. We went a little bit long on this one. We expected it to be a short one with only 11 fights, but we were yapping away a little bit. That's all.
Yeah. So, guys, if you enjoyed, do us a favor. Do like the thing at the bottom says. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We would really appreciate that. And also, go check us out on Instagram and don't check us out on TikTok yet. We'll let you know when to do that for real. But Instagram, check us out. We're popping on Instagram. Almost 500,000 views. We're probably at like 460 now that the episode's almost done. But check us out there. Subscribe. Let us know what's good. DS, anything else? Fuck, I always point to the wrong side.
That's all.
That's all from DS, guys. He is DS. I'm Dino Bam Bam. We are the 10-7 MMA. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.